In Privacy Watch, if you track your health on a pregnancy app, the information may be more public than you think. According to a report by the Washington Post, one mother discovered that the information she was regularly logging into an app called Ovia was also being seen by her employer, who paid to gain access to those details.
So the company was able to collect data on employees to determine information like when new moms plan on coming back to work. For more on this, Drew Harwell joins us from Washington. He's a national technology reporter for the Washington Post. So this is a really fascinating and in little ways creepy story, Drew. So for those who are not familiar, what kind of information is tracked on an app like Ovia?
So the app asks for pretty much every detail women are willing to share, down to their mood and what they're eating, how they're feeling, their sex life, their work life, and all of that gets poured into the app. And the employers get a certain segment of that information that's sort of aggregated, but a ton of it is very sensitive and stuff that women wouldn't typically want to share with their boss. Stuff like whether they had a high-risk pregnancy, what kind of childbirth, what kind of childbirth it was, and if there were any complications when they planned to return to work. All of this, information that has typically been something a woman maybe shares with their doctor or family, not the kind of thing you would share with your boss.
So then why would your boss or your employer even want this information?
So a lot of these companies end up being self-insured, so they cover a lot of the health expenses, and they say, this can help us save money on, unnecessary fertility treatments or expensive, pregnancies and childbirth. So, a lot of it goes back to the bottom line. And for some of these privacy advocates, they worry that women are sacrificing their privacy just to save the company some money.
Yeah, because if your boss called you up while you were on maternity leave and said, hey, listen, I have a couple questions. Was it a high-risk pregnancy? I mean, you might hang up on your boss. I mean, you would say, no, that's too personal. So I don't understand how they're able to get this information via an app.
Yeah, and there's a real worry about pregnancy discrimination in the workplace, too. I mean, women are just treated differently when they're pregnant or when they're coming back to work. And so there's this information, imbalance here where the companies can potentially use this information against the women. And yet this app makes it very fun and friendly, and it looks very colorful. Millions of women use these. So, there's a question of whether they're giving up too much.
Yeah.
So do people have any warning that their information might be shared? Have their employers or the app asked their permission?
So this company, like a lot of them, has a multi-thousand word privacy policy in terms of use that every woman who uses it checks, just like we do in every other app. And in that, they say that they don't sell or share women's data. But from a look at that privacy policy and from talking with the company and the women, I mean, there is a number of ways that the information is, offered to marketers for in-app marketing. It's sent to scientific researchers, and it's just used to target the women in ways that a lot of them have told us they weren't expecting.
I think maybe in the past few years there's been an explosion of health-related apps. I know I have a number on my phone keeping track of my diet. I know there's all sorts of mental health apps that, track your mood. So people are getting something out of it. I know at least the diet ones I use keeps me on track.
Yeah. I mean, they're super popular, and it all started with the Fitbit, right? But there's dozens of those apps right now, and they're popular for a reason. I mean, people want to feel in control of how their body's feeling. But we're now moving into this arena where that information is going beyond just the person who's logging it, and it's being tracked by insurers and companies. So I think it's worth a debate over how much are we willing to share, and how is that information being used on the company side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, like I said, I use the example of your boss asking you personal information, but it's not only sort of personal, but I think it's illegal.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're still getting this data, which is sort of boggles the mind.
And some people, as you say, really find some of these apps very beneficial. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate it. Drew Harwell.
Thank you.